Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life.
Hats.
Brendo.
How you going?
It's always that way round. Why is it with us? That wasn't pre-planned, but it's always that way round.
Because I hit record. You don't.
Okay.
That's
okay. You know, like you get twosome on on the telly. They always stand on the same side.
No.
They do. They always left to right. The way you say it, they always stand left to right. The way you read a book.
Oh, okay. All right.
So there you go. Well, maybe we're sitting in the wrong chairs. I don't know.
Maybe.
How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Freezing?
No, it's not too bad tonight. I don't think. Are you cold?
Yeah, freezing.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, we have a guest,
We do have a guest. Introduce him.
Michael. How are you, mate? Do you want to be Michael, or do you want to be? You happy being Michael on the pod?
I've always been Michael, so I can continue that way.
Okay, cool. Michael from Volpe, but we've also got. You've also just had a. Oh, you introduce yourself and tell us what's just been happening recently, if you don't mind.
What's been happening? I had a Twitter thread, and CK from Bitcoin Magazine asked me to go a bit deeper into that. So I wrote a bit of an article on anti-fragility, and that came out today. So probably not many people have read it.
We have.
Yeah.
It's good.
You have? Yeah, you got the advanced preview. So.
Yeah.
No, it is good, and it's quite. You're quite varied. You've got quite a varied skill set. And
I do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from terms of from the work type of work that you're doing, but then what you're doing, more locally with your sort of resilience type stuff. I know I was just reading through it, and I was like, yeah, you've obviously been. You're a Bitcoiner waiting for Bitcoin, right? It just maybe
pretty much, yeah.
And then it's come along. So where did you come in, and how did you find it, and how did you work out that it met with a lot of your other thought processes in life?
Yeah, so it was like late 2016, early 2017. A news article sort of thing popped up, and I think I had heard of it before that, but just wrote it off a bit as everyone does. And yeah, so around that time, news article popped up, and it just intrigued me a bit more, and started tumbling down the rabbit hole. Did the shitcoining thing a little bit. I was always skeptical of that, and it just didn't sit right with me. And I think the more I read into Bitcoin, the more it just felt, hey, this is right. This is what I've been looking for. Yeah.
So the shitcoin side of things,
it just kind of clicked.
Sorry. Yeah. So the shitcoin side of things, you sort of you came in as most people come in as this is a potential for this thing to go up, and we're not actually thinking about changing the world at that point. But the shitcoin thing just never sat well with you. It just, or what was the apprehension there? What made you realize, or was it a person or a book or an event that made you sort of realize that this is it's all shit apart from this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I was, in the trading group and learning about TA and all of that sort of stuff, and that side of things kind of interested me. But I just saw a lot of people losing a lot of money and putting in a lot of money and having no idea what they were doing and that sort of stuff. So I could just see that it was leading to a place where people were going to get wrecked. And that's exactly what happened over, 2018, 2019.
So did you have someone to kind of coach you away from the shitcoins, or did you come to your own conclusion about them?
No, I think I really decided that on my own. Like I was in this group and that sort of thing, and they were all doing their trades and whatnot, and I was paying attention, but just went, that's not really a place that I want to be putting my money. And it's, I don't know, it was just a feeling. I'm pretty skeptical about a lot of things, and that was one of them.
So you gradually just you whittle down to one, like most of us have, I guess.
And it seems to resonate with people who are generally cynical or skeptical anyway. Yeah. So
people are just not willing to accept the given answer.
Yeah.
Or they have to at least
without investigating without doing
some level of critical thought.
Yeah.
Like
So and so I guess your background and the background to the article, which is called Becoming Antifragile, is that correct? I think is that what you called?
That's the title we had. But I think the actual full title in the magazine I saw today was different.
Yeah.
Oops. What is it?
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Let's have a look.
The working title was Becoming Antifragile, but the magazine did have something longer, I think, didn't it?
Yeah, but you're talking about food and community and health and fitness, all that kind of stuff, which really resonates with Bitcoiners, obviously.
Yeah.
So your background was there anyway.
They've called it Becoming Antifragile with Bitcoin and Beyond.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so very similar.
Yeah.
So for you, So for you, you had those kind of ideals and those thought processes. So when Bitcoin came along for you, you were just like, it obviously just married up immediately. Like, was it like a click moment?
It was still a learning process. And even like for a long time, I was probably skeptical about Bitcoin as well. So I did have to do a degree of learning before, I'd fully decided that I'll put far much more money than I should into it, sort of thing. But it did it aligned with my principles and a lot of the stuff that I was doing already. So it probably took a lot less time than for other people.
So the good thing for us is that by writing the article, you've just given us a complete structure of a podcast, which is wonderful. Yeah. And if there's even the bit about yourself at the top, I nearly read it out. I was like, well, this is really good. I could just do that. But so food, like you have a farm, is that right? Or what size of a property are we talking about?
So it's only 8.5 acres, which pretty big. Is why, I mean, it is, but it's not as big as I'd like, and I can't do half of the stuff that I want to do. So that's why we do a lot of vegetables, because of the size of it. It's not all usable, and we've got creeks running through and a bit of bush and that sort of stuff. So like we actually farm on probably just under half an acre, I think.
Yep.
And yeah, for that size, we can like produce enough food to feed probably 40 families a week, I would say, vegetables.
Yeah. So was that the initial goal? Was the initial goal to plant some veggies for yourself, or were you actually trying to provide for other people as well?
Originally we just started planting stuff, growing and whatever, and it just took off from there. We grew more than we could use ourselves and started putting it out the front on a table. Everyone in the street was going crazy for it, and they've never got vegetables as fresh or as tasty and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
And so every year from then we just got a little bit bigger. And yeah.
So would you have, obviously, vegetables are seasonal and whatnot. So do you have enough produce for yourself? Do you eat seasonally, and do you have enough produce for yourselves all year round, or is this like a period at a time?
Except for at the moment, because we flooded like 2 weeks ago. So everything's basically wiped out. But yeah, we pretty much eat all year round. No problems.
That's amazing.
And do you use it to barter with it? Like, do you sell it you put it out the front and you sell it, but do you also barter for other people's products, or what do you do there?
We do what they call a Rico ring with some other local farmers. And so basically it's kind of like an online marketplace where customers come and place their orders and buy from all the different farmers. So, there's people that are selling chicken and beef and eggs and all that sort of stuff. So we source a lot of our stuff that we don't grow ourselves through those farmers. And they're all local farmers on the coast as well.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I just doxed myself, didn't I?
You did. He's on the coast, everyone.
The east coast of Australia.
Oh, even worse.
Nice.
It's a big coast.
It's a big coast. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. So, as you say, what do you call it? A Rico ring?
Yeah.
So, is that like you don't join? It's not like a co-op and you jointly own, but it's like a platform that you all use and you can just source from each other type thing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's essentially what it is.
So you still pay still pay each other, but you don't.
Yeah.
But you're still you know the other farmer and all that kind of stuff. You know there's a local person.
Yeah, and they buy from us, we buy from them, all that sort of thing. So it works out. And we do, there's farmer discounts and that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
living the dream.
Well,
that's awesome.
That is great. And so how is that change? Was there anything like that before? Were you the first? Or was like in your street you say you were the first, but like locally there was other people, or?
So well, as far as like doing small scale ag and that sort of thing, there's quite a few other farmers around doing the Rico ring style of stuff. Where we're really the first on in this area, but I think it's a concept that has been imported from Europe somewhere. Sweden perhaps, and so they do some pretty big Rico rings over there. Lots of farmers and people lining up for hours to get their produce.
So your background is it agricultural or like what kind of?
No. So we're both basically self-taught farmers, and I'm just a nerd. I've always worked in IT. Just started growing, and
So nothing as a
farm.
kid, not like no kind of farmy families or growing families. No.
I mean, my wife, she's sort of grown up on properties and had trees and chickens and stuff like that, fruit trees, but nothing serious, nothing commercial or anything. So it's
Sorry, if somebody was listening to this and thinking, I'd love to be able to do that, but I don't know where to start. Now, obviously, climate and whatnot, it might will vary depending on where you're listening. But like, where would you start? Where would somebody start to do something like that?
There's so much stuff online that you can dig into, like Curtis Stone, for example. Although I don't tend to agree with a lot of the stuff that he does now.
Is that the chef guy, the cold chef guy?
No, this is is he Canadian? Curtis Stone. So he's the urban farmer.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So he basically started farming. He was just on like an urban block, and he started farming in his front yard. Turned his lawn into a farm sort of thing, and then he scaled up from that and took over other people's front yards. And he would he was growing lots of salad, greens, and stuff like that, and would ride around on his bike delivering it to restaurants. So he obviously farms in a very different way to a lot of the commercial farms, and it's stuff that you can do easily in a backyard or in a front yard. So he's got like hundreds of hours of content online. Stuff like that. There's just tons of information online that you can just watch and dig into, and just start growing. And it takes a while to figure things out when you're doing it on your own, but it's pretty easy to do.
Because I suppose trial and error. You'll have made hundreds of mistakes, right?
Yeah.
But that's okay, because they'll not do that next season, or you might do it next season because the weather conditions change or whatever it is. But no, it's just.
I find it so admirable, like people that can just do that as well.
I mean, I think anybody. This isn't meant to be rude, but like I think anybody could do it. They just have to care enough.
Yes,
and they have to try.
Yeah, but it's easier not to. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But it's sort of I guess it's probably a lot of time. Is it like people say? Well, the time commitment that's involved, and the run is such busy lives, just on the hamster wheel, that they don't put any time into something, but if you start to build, I guess, resilience in some aspects of your life, and just keep building little levels of resilience in your life, all of a sudden after a period of years, you probably don't. I mean, you tell me, but like, do you feel like you've got way ahead over that period, and it's just been incremental, or?
Yeah. I guess in a way we've been able to grow what we're doing quite easily because everyone else is so busy and they don't want to put in the time and effort to do this sort of thing themselves. So there's such a demand. Like, the stuff that we grow is nothing like you will get in any supermarket, or even if you go to a farmer's market. You can't get stuff that's as tasty and fresh as our stuff, and everyone tells us that. And so it's really easy for us to sell what we grow to other people because they just can't get it anywhere else. And so, I guess over time we just keep doing what we're doing, and each year we seem to get better. We've had tons of setbacks as well. Like, for example, the other week where we flooded and everything's basically washed away. And, that's happened 3 times in the last 18 months, which kind of sucks, but you just keep going. And over time, like we have for the last few years, we've been feeding ourselves, and we don't even think about the time and effort that we put in or anything like that anymore. It's just something that we do. Other people go and sit and watch TV for 3 hours a night, and we're feeding ourselves. So it just
becomes a part of your life. You're part of your routine.
So hang on, wait.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
No time for Xbox. Is that what you're saying?
I bought a PlayStation 4, I think, was the last one that I bought, and I've never actually managed to get a game in there to play
at all.
No time for Xbox. No. I used to be a big gamer back in the day, but no time. Sorry.
Wow.
How do you view it in terms of like the split of like what the other things that you do? Like, do you consider it to be a job, or do you consider it to be just an extra income stream, or how do you see it?
A passion project as well, I suppose.
I mean, it's probably all of those things. It's a backup plan. It's an extra income. It's something I do enjoy doing to a degree. There's parts of it that really suck.
What sucks?
But,
like what?
Weeding.
Oh, like spending an entire weekend shoveling compost.
Yeah.
Okay. Mosquito buzzing me. And just it's stuff that's just not that fun. But I mean, it's just part of life now. So I don't know. It's all of the above.
But even
it's kind of weird. Like, I don't really see things as work and not work. Everything that I do is somewhere in between. It's just life.
Yeah, but even though it sucks to actually do, it's still a component of health and fitness. Yeah, so you're shoveling compost, you're doing this, you're working with your hands. You're not sitting down eating a packet of chips and watching Netflix. You
don't need a gym membership.
No, exactly. So part of even though it might suck or you might not want to do it, it's still contributing to your overall health and fitness, which is also part of your anti-fragile.
I mean, it's definitely fitness-wise. Doing the farm stuff is definitely different to going to CrossFit or whatever. You tend to move a lot slower. It's a marathon, not a sprint sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you put in too much too fast while you're doing this stuff, it definitely burns you out. So you've got to just move slowly.
But you're moving. That's the point.
Well,
yeah.
I think you said something really interesting that you don't. I'd have to listen to it back, but it was almost like that you don't distinguish between your work and your life and things like that. I'm noticing that a little bit with myself as well, in that I'm choosing, like, like I'm super wealthy or anything. I'm not, but
nobody knows what, except for me, what you do. For
yeah,
a job.
yeah, I know. But like the things that I'm doing, I'm choosing to do, and the time that I'm spending, I'm choosing to spend. Yes, okay, I still have to work enough to earn enough to pay whatever bills that I have, right?
Yeah.
But the more you move towards that choice, it feels great.
Yeah.
You might be financially worse off, but you don't care. Because you enjoy the things that you do.
Well, you get to make a choice, or make the choice to actually do
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
exactly. And it's a really liberating feeling, and it's hard to. It's very it's an addictive feeling. You want more of it in all aspects of your life, just like, and it's not like you want. I don't know. I'll speak for myself, Michael, but like it's not that I want to make any decisions for other people. I just want to make decisions for myself and my family. And then let other people be. And I've actually probably become more tolerant of other people's opinions now too. No, in the sense that, I don't mean shitcoiners. I don't mean I'm not tolerant of that. I just, but yeah, when somebody has a real different belief to me on something,
yeah,
I'm all right. I'm kind of all right with that as long as it doesn't get in the way of my thing.
or they're not pushing theirs on you.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So on that, sorry, you got a quote. With all that, with the Bitcoin stuff that you're doing, do you actually have a normie day job as well?
Sort of.
Yeah.
So I own a company. I do some work in that company, but really it's not using up a lot of my time. So.
And that's not Bitcoin. Not
yes,
Bitcoin
I do
related.
technically.
Not Vault Pay.
No.
We'll come to that.
Yep.
Something else.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like software stuff. So. Yeah.
But again, it's you're determining, you're choosing the time that you're spending on it. You could push it harder if you wanted to, if you felt like you needed to, maybe, or is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of moving away from it, and I do want to do other stuff like Vault Pay and whatever. So ideally, I'd like to move more into making money from Bitcoin based things, as opposed to what I see as a fairly parasitic industry, full of scammers and so forth. But yeah, it is there. It pays the bills. So for now, I've got to stick with it.
Oh yeah.
How has the farm changed your relationships, or not relationship with local people, like your local community? Like, do you find you're more aware of the people, you speak to the people or how does that work? Like, certainly the other farmers, I guess you would be more in touch with, but
yeah, definitely a lot with the other farmers. Probably my wife actually goes out and does a lot of the markets and the selling and that sort of stuff. So I probably don't have as much of a connection, but everybody knows us, even if we don't know them. And yeah, like just over the years, sort of people have come to know that, we're the people that have the farm and that sort of thing. And I guess there's plenty of people that get, really upset when like flooding and that sort of stuff happens and we're affected by it, and then they're missing out on what we would be providing for them and that sort of stuff. So I guess we're quite intertwined in the community, more so than we would be without doing the farm.
Yeah.
I had something else in the back of that. No. I can't remember. It'll come back to me. So you were just briefly touching as well on the health and fitness side of that, was in your article too. So what is your routine there, and how does the farming help or complement that, and what else do you do?
Usually with the farming, it kind of it hinders, especially if there has been like a big weekend of shoveling compost or whatever.
Yep.
You're pretty knackered after that, and you can't really put in that much in the gym. I'm training CrossFit at the moment, which started up again a couple of months ago. here I am drinking water.
Sorry, we're on the wine. Sorry, man.
By all means, if you want to stop this and go get yourself a beer, by all means, you do that.
Welcome to Two Bit Idiots.
No, it's all good. So I'll be up at 4:30 in the morning and off to CrossFit. So
see, that's the difference.
I'll stay with the water.
Yeah. So what? That's a 5 a.m. start, is it?
Yeah, yep. 5 a.m.
That's
6 a.m. and then back home. Back home at about 6:30, and then
how long have you been doing CrossFit?
The rest of the day. I started like originally in 2013, I think.
Oh shit, that's pretty good.
But I had a few years off in between.
Because I've been doing CrossFit for maybe 6 months, and I love it equally as much as I hate it.
Yep.
It's a weird feeling.
It never changes. Like you're always going to have that feeling.
Yeah. Like it keeps bringing you back, but then it's the worst thing in the world.
Wait, hang on, I've never done CrossFit, so it's hard to go, or
no,
it's hard
no,
when you're there.
No, you want to go, so you finish it, and you're so fucking glad it's over, but then you can't. Oh shit! You can't. Are you still there, Michael?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, we got a little message on the computer. You're so stoked it's finished, but then you're like, that felt awesome, and you're super sore, and you're like, oh my God. But then you think about, I want to go back. But then when you're there, that whole, like for me, it's an hour, I don't know about you, but an hour of like, it's like warm up, sort of strength training, and then like a kind of more cardio stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cardio kills me, and you just want it to end, basically. But then when it's done, it's just like, yes, I've done it. And then, it must be a serotonin hit or something, I don't know.
There's definitely like dopamine out of it.
Yeah. It's just you do feel good, and you feel better for doing it, particularly the mornings when I've done, because mine starts. I have a 6 a.m. one that I do. You just feel great, and sore, but then you go, and then you start, and then it's shit, and then it's great, and then you go, and then
That's interesting, because my dad was a runner, right? And he always said that the hardest thing about running was putting your shoes on, because it's the thought of going. He always enjoyed his run.
That's a great point.
But this sounds like it's a little bit different. It sounds like it's you want to go. It's horrific whilst you're there, and you love it afterwards. Is that are you both saying the same there?
Yeah, pretty much. I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you paired up? Do you pair up?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. It depends. It always changes. I don't know. Like I don't really. I'm probably different to a lot of people. I'm kind of crazy. I don't have an issue, getting myself out of bed and getting there and that sort of stuff. Usually for me, it's afterwards. Like for the rest of the day, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I can't walk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like. And then, while I'm there, it's pretty painful as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm a lightweight, mate. I'm only lifting tiny weights, so I'm probably not feeling this.
Don't worry, I'm a little fella. I'm probably lifting tiny weights too.
When you
probably lift more than me already.
I doubt it.
Yes,
Bodog, yes, I do.
When you first started, is it like walking? What did you feel like walking into the room going, oh, I'm going to do CrossFit? You must, because you've heard all this. I've never been to CrossFit. I've only heard people talk about it, and it's cultish, right? People they love it. They absolutely love it.
Have you walked into a gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, first time you walk into the gym, you feel like an absolute weirdo. Like,
even have I walked to the gym? Look at me.
Yeah, all right. But you do. You don't know what you're doing, but like, say, for me, my CrossFit group, I'm guessing Michael's, yours is the same. They're really welcoming. Everyone's encouraging. You're all kind of.
You have one instructor?
One instructor generally.
And a group of how many?
For me, it depends. It could be 5, could be 20.
Okay.
And you just go through the routine, and they kind of keep you going, and maybe correct technique as you're going, or Brendo, maybe do this. Actually, I liken it a little bit to golf swings. So with some of the lifting, they kind of go, well, do this, but bend here and do that, and then it's like, fuck.
Like constant little corrections.
Well, so much stuff. I mean, this is because I'm only fairly fresh to it, but so many kind of things, and then you have too much in your head, and anyway, I'll fuck it up.
So why was it CrossFit, Michael? Like, why that?
I think like we were just going to a normal gym, and then the trainers there went off and started their own CrossFit box, and we kind of got dragged along to that. So
you got poached.
just fell into it, really. Yep. And yeah, like, you know, there's some fun stuff there that you can't do in a normal gym. You know, a lot of the gymnastic stuff and even the Olympic lifting, you can't really do that in a normal gym. You get frowned upon a bit. So it's just fun.
Where are you?
Something a bit different. And
you should come, Hats. Come with me.
I should.
You get a free week trial with my group.
Okay.
Come along.
You on a referral commission, are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If it pays in sats, I'll come. Have you always been aware of this? Like, have you looked at your? I kind of guess looked at your own life holistically and gone, okay, well, there's like these 7 angles, and this is what I'm going to do for health. This is what I'm going to do for work. This is what I'm going to do for, or have you just sort of these the things sort of come together and they're all sort of sharing a similar theme? This resilience to me seems like the theme.
Yes.
Across, and there's more.
Yeah, I mean, it was never a conscious thing. It's just, I guess, my interests, and it just, yeah, all sort of came together that actually this is what I'm doing. I never really sat down and thought I need to solve these areas of my life or anything like that. It's just, yeah, just happened.
But okay, so when you sat and wrote this article, when you were thinking, what was it like when you're going, oh, was it like a dawning on you going, oh yeah, I do all these things, or what, like?
Yeah, like I started thinking about it, and the more I thought about it, yeah, like each area sort of popped in, and I probably could have gone into a lot of other areas in the article. Don't ask me about them now because I'll have to spend some time thinking about them. But yeah, like just the more I thought about it, every sort of aspect of my life did to some degree work towards being anti-fragile, I guess.
So you also, there's probably 3 we haven't covered and that were in the article. You've got skills and knowledge development and dependency and mindset, and then you've got the income and finance, right? So let's go to the income and finance last, but let's do the other ones first, if you don't mind, just because then we can naturally move on to the Bitcoin stuff if that's okay.
Yep.
So yeah, the skills and knowledge development. What's that?
So it probably comes with doing the farming stuff to a degree that, you know, there's always something broken that you have to fix or whatever. And I suppose in general, you know, it's very handy to be able to fix things when they're broken or do whatever needs to be done. Whereas most people these days will just straight away, they just go and pay someone to do whatever it happens to be. If you can do these things yourself, when those skilled people aren't available, you're not stuck. You know, so that can get you out of a lot of jams, really, in everyday life. And when, as I said in the article, when things go tits up. So it's something that, you know, covers a lot of areas. There's a lot of stuff that you can learn. So really you need to be constantly just teaching yourself new things in various different areas.
Do you mind me asking what was school like for you? Like school and further education, if you went on to do that, did you do that? And or have you always been a more practical guy?
I slept through most of school.
Yep.
Got kicked out a few times.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was not really the ideal place for me. I didn't really learn the way they taught. It just really wasn't me. I did go off and do secondary. I went to uni afterwards, and It was quite a while afterwards, but it was really just to, get the bit of paper when I was in the mindset of, climb the ladder, and having the bit of paper will get me a better job and blah, blah, blah. So I went and did that, but it wasn't really something that I gained knowledge out of, if that makes sense. I just went there to tick the boxes, and I suppose I learned how to write essays, which I'd never really done anything like that before. So it gave me that skill. But it was really just going there and getting the bit of paper, and that was it, job done.
Yeah. So what I kind of want to ask is, there is so much content. There's so much content available online now, and you can teach yourself everything, like within reason. I mean, I don't really want to go to a brain surgeon that learned on YouTube.
I reckon you could,
but maybe yeah. But is it fair to say that for people who the school system was just, for whatever reason, not quite their thing, those people are finding this, those people, but also the ones that have got no problem with learning, it just the environment of the learning was the problem. The YouTube or other services now have just opened up everything, and if you want to know anything, you can just go find out and just dig and never get to the bottom of. Is that what have you found that for yourself?
I mean, that's the way I learn, basically. It's what I do. I mean, it probably doesn't work the same for everyone. Some people are just sitting on Centrelink payments instead. But yeah, like there is literally so much content, and even if you learn with videos, or if you learn by reading or whatever, it's all out there. So yeah, you can really teach yourself anything, and you may not get to the level of being able to sell those services or whatever skills that you teach yourself, but it's certainly going to be good enough to get by. And then you can, if you want to go down that path, you can look at other ways to get better, improve at whatever the skill happens to be. Like for example, I taught myself to weld the other week, and it looks horrible and whatever, but it does the job. So I certainly wouldn't be earning any money from it
at this point, right? Okay. This is the conversation we were having when we just had a break, right? Brenda and I were having this conversation that we are such beta males that we don't do enough of these things like we do. Like when you get to the end of the day, you just want to just veg on the sofa or something because you're just exhausted, so that you can regenerate for the next day.
Yeah.
Whereas Michael's sitting there going, I'm going to teach myself to weld.
Yeah.
Like, so what is it? Why is that? What is that? Is it just because you got a practical need for the welding and you're like, I'm going to do this so I don't have to pay another guy to do it, or you genuinely just want to know how to do something?
Bit of both. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do when I need to, I'll go and lay down on the lounge and not move until I need, until I'm done. So I definitely do have plenty of downtime. But I guess with learning new stuff, it's always a trade-off of, is it going to be valuable for me to learn this now? Can I use it in the future? Or is it just going to be easier to pay someone else to do it and then it's done? And I guess with welding, as an example, it's something it's come up a few times in the past. Oh, this thing's broken. Yeah. It'd be really handy if I could weld, but I can't weld. I don't have a welder, blah, blah, blah. But it's, the sort of thing that I'm not going to take it and pay someone because it's just not worth the effort or not worth the cost of it. So that sort of skill, it seems like, it makes sense to teach myself to do that. So I had something that I wanted to do and got all the equipment, did some research and started going at it and, finished the job. And then I moved on to the next job to see if I could get better at it.
Yeah.
I had a go at welding once with a couple of mates, and we obviously you try to practice welding with a couple of bits of metal, and then what we did was we actually weld or draw, pretty much try to draw with the welder. I don't know if it was a MIG or an arc welder or whatever. Anyway, this mate of mine drew a penis, and then forgot that he'd done it because we're on the terps, and then he's picked up the bit of metal where the penis was and literally
he's got the
scalded a dick into his hand.
That's good. That's why I'll never weld. We have this. So Twitter has this, or Bitcoin Twitter has we've all become such sort of anti-experts because the experts are a lot of the experts in inverted commas are actually just frauds. So we'll become anti-expert, which I also think is dangerous, right? Because we do need, like, for all that we can all learn new skills, there is a limit to, how much time we have in the day. And ultimately, there are certain things that, if you need, if you want a heart surgeon or whatever it is, you probably should go see a heart surgeon and not don't Brendo up the road because you learned to watch a YouTube video. So where's the cutoff is my point. Like, how do you determine what's going to be something you can learn, and where do we say, okay, well, all right, well, I can accept that I'm never going to be a physio, so if I need a physio, I'll just go find a guy with skills.
Well, don't trust, verify can only go so far.
Yes. So how far is the question, I guess.
Yeah.
Where would you stop? Like, and it's going to be different for everybody, but where would you stop? Have you thought about that?
That's a tough question.
Sorry, I just landed on you. I did just think of it.
I mean, I guess different people will learn different things, or not everyone can do everything. Some people won't understand programming, and their brain won't work that way. So there's really not much point them trying to teach themselves if they're just going to be shit at it. So I guess, knowing your own limitations is probably a handy thing. With intellectual stuff, so like you were saying about, the experts, there's probably a lot of people that tend to just palm off knowledge or research to other people. Oh, that's going to take too much time, too much effort, so I'll just go with what they say. And I think that's pretty dangerous, because I mean, we've all seen where that leads, listening to the experts too much. So it's probably something that you take on a case-by-case basis. But intellectual stuff, I think everyone needs to be thinking for themselves a lot more. When it comes to physical skills, sure, there is only so much time in a day and so many things you can teach yourself. So it kind of comes down to your personal discretion as to what you want to or can achieve.
And then maybe if we have this asset that's potentially going up forever, all that actually does is you can sit back and revel in the glory of how clever you were, or you can realize that what it's actually given you is time to do all the things that maybe you thought you might have a go at some stage. I saw a tweet today from a guy, Money Ninja, right? And the tweet was good because it was like, do you ever worry that hyper-Bitcoinization won't happen because the majority of humans on the planet are just too stupid to understand it? I have worried about that a lot. But I've sort of come to the conclusion that that most people don't know how to do most things, right? You don't know how your cooker works, not really. You don't know how your radio works. You don't know how the internet works. You don't know how... most things you don't know how you don't know how your car works. But you just trust that it works. And and that's okay for the I think for the majority of things.
Oh, big time.
But I think we just have to be individually thinking critically about everything really, and then thinking, okay, well, yeah, I've thought about that. I've thought that through, and I think that's okay to pass that decision making onto this guy because I've gone and looked at what he's done in the past, or whatever it might be. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Like, I just don't know. Like, we can't all become like we can't all do everything, right? You know, you can't be everything to everyone and everybody. We all just have to be aware of, like, knowing, like you said, knowing your own limitations, knowing what you're even interested in. Even that's a good start. Knowing what you're not interested in is an even better start, probably, because then you're just, okay, well, all of those things I can probably go find somebody that's interested because they're probably going to be better than me. But
always questioning as well. So, you know,
Yes.
if there's people out there saying, well, this is how things should be, as long as you're questioning why, you know, and you get a sufficient answer that, or one that you're
like a
satisfied
common sense
with.
test,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Or-
I think when it comes to the money, probably a lot more people need to, because it's such a fundamental layer of our society and the way everything functions. A lot more people need to understand it.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to understand all the intricacies and when it comes to Bitcoin, the technical details so much, but they need to understand it conceptually, how
Yes.
it works. So yeah, people
Why
should
it's
be
required
definitely
and how
questioning.
it functions, and then you can just use
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Let me ask you this. I met a guy the other day. I would like to know how this makes you feel, if you don't mind. So I met a guy the other day who I met him on a Friday. It's the Craig David song or something. I met him on a Friday. You remember Craig David?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I
yeah,
do.
you're old.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was on his way to the supermarket, right? And he hadn't been. He had no money, right? Wasn't a homeless guy. Perfectly
Was it
normal.
Monday or
Friday.
Tuesday?
That's
Friday.
That's why I said Friday.
Oh, sorry.
You don't listen at all, do you?
Well, you messaged me on a Monday about it. I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
okay. So he hadn't. I met him he was on his way to the supermarket. He hadn't eaten since Wednesday. Guy with a job and a house and a normal person, nice guy. His wages were due in on the Thursday, and he hadn't been paid. They hadn't gone through on the Thursday, and they'd finally come through on the Friday, and that's why he was off to. So this guy hadn't eaten in what, nearly 48 hours. Now, okay, the wages not coming through. That's not his fault, but he was planning to run out of money on the Wednesday and be paid on the Thursday. Can you imagine living so close to the line?
Yeah.
Like,
Can you also say where he went and what he went to buy?
I have no idea. He was going to the supermarket.
You told me.
Oh, yeah, and also he was getting smokes.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the other thing, right? But yeah, okay, sorry, that was the. But so yeah, ridiculous. But how, as a guy who places a big emphasis on resilience, how does that make you feel? I was petrified for the man.
Yeah. I mean, without wanting to judge him too much and that sort of thing.
He was a nice guy. Yeah, no judgment. Yeah. But just the decision.
You do have to ask, like, you know, A, how he ended up in that situation, and B, why the fuck he hasn't got himself out of it.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Like, I mean, and you know, we don't know him. We don't know what his life situation is. And some people do get stuck in holes and they literally can't get themselves out of. But it doesn't sound like the case for this guy.
Well, you
why
start
would you
with
live like that?
not buying smokes, and that's me saying that. You know
That's
what I mean?
it. What are they now, like $50 a pack or something?
I don't even know what this was.
Well, $30 for a pack of 20s, probably. Well, it depends. $30 to $40 basically for a pack.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking terrible.
So you take that 30 or $40. Let's say he's buying one pack a week, which is probably not true. But
unlikely.
Take that and you go and buy $30 worth of seeds.
I was going to say seeds. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Maybe some compost or whatever.
Yeah.
You can start simple. He's got just a little balcony or something, so he doesn't have a big property. So you get some compost and you get some seeds, grow some herbs. Can I
throw a public library reference here? So we actually have a seed library, and a lot of libraries do this as well. So you can get free organic seeds from public libraries. No cost.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, if your library down there...
You've said something where somebody's got a pen out.
Oh. If your library doesn't do it, get it happening.
Well, that's really good.
It is good.
It's a really good thing.
Yeah.
You're outside your library. There's actually a little you can go pick chilies.
Yep.
Straight off the plant outside the library.
Yep.
I assume you can just take them.
We were the second library in Australia to do it, and we have a lot of libraries that are kind of going, oh yeah, we want to do this. How do you do it? So
that is what it should be. It's a community resource,
and people share that, like seed savers bring seeds in, and it's great. It's fantastic.
So if somebody has so let's just quickly go. Sorry, Michael, please go on.
I was just going to say, do you think that libraries are doing that because books are kind of dying, so they're just trying to do other things to get people in?
100%.
Well, I was going to say triggered, but no,
no, absolutely. So it's a funny beast, right? So yes, like loans are declining of physical books, ebooks and e-audio, they're going up because people are on devices and they're just doing, they're putting things in the car or whatever. But libraries have been dying since the 80s. I said this to Bodog the other day. Yep. So like, the whole industry has constantly been reinventing itself, trying to get people engaged and all that kind of stuff. But statistically, people in financially hard times turn to libraries because they can't afford to buy books, they can't afford to get movies, they can't afford to use, they might have to cancel their internet, or they can't buy a new computer because theirs died. So they come in.
What you're not saying now? Are you seeing that in the library now?
Yes. No. We've always seen that.
But I'm talking about this recent since probably COVID stimulus has stopped.
No, not
yet.
Not really. It's hard. Well, it's not something you can really quantify. Okay. But like people always, there's always a community or section of the community that value libraries. There's always a section that doesn't. People like, say, the three of us that can afford the internet, can afford, whatever, don't necessarily need them, but there's people like oldies, right, that don't have computers, don't have the internet. They are forced online. I've said this before, I'm sure. Forced online by government services like MyGov and all that kind of stuff. They have no idea what they're doing. What 90-year-old who's never touched a computer, who now has to go to MyGov, like what are they going to do? Yeah. They come to a library because we help them get on and they do the stuff that they need to do, then they move on.
So is the library going to reinvent itself as a different, in a whole different function then, or is it constantly trying to do that? Is it going to die? Is what really the question, or is it going to reinvent itself and become something better?
No, well, will it? I don't know. Should it? Never, because there's always going to be somebody who can't do the shit they need to do in this kind of modern society, and always people that can't afford basic, human rights of learning. Lifelong learning is a huge thing. People want to learn, they want to research, they want to do all these things. How do they do that? You go on YouTube, sure.
So I agree with you, but the question just becomes: does it have to be something that's provided for by the state, or could it be done in the same way as like a community farming initiative set up? Like, is that the potential?
Yeah, totally. But someone has to fund that, I suppose. Unless it's like a neighborhood kind of, street library or something, which are popping up everywhere as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. let's.
How do we get to the libraries, man?
I don't know. You're always trying to twist things to
I
get to libraries.
I didn't.
Let's go.
That was me. Sorry.
Okay, we've jumped around this.
I feel like we need to go to VaultPay, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah,
so
okay.
let's go the income finances, then VaultPay. So that's the income finances part. That's part of your article as well. And I guess that feeds into what you're trying to do with VaultPay. So, talk us through that, Michael.
Yeah, so in the article, I kind of break it down as one, earn more than you spend. So that's pretty simple, and I think a lot of Bitcoiners will get that straight off the bat.
Yep.
A lot of people in our society these days don't get that, and they're spending far more than they earn and living on credit cards and all that sort of thing. So yeah, to me, that's pretty common sense. As far as anti-fragility goes with income, the best thing you can do is not rely on one single source. Earn money from multiple places, have small amounts coming in, try and get passive income if you can, and various things. So basically, if one thing collapses, you've still got something else to fall back on, and then you can always spin up other things to generate more income. I did go into a little bit of investing stuff and that sort of thing, but I mean, we really all know where that's going. We put our money in Bitcoin, so everyone can do what they want to do with that, really. So where to from here?
So what is VaultPay? Who's it for? And what solution is it solving in your opinion?
Yes.
Well, actually, sorry, before you go there, what made you go or identify a need for what you're doing with VaultPay?
Yeah. Good point.
Yep. So VaultPay, basically a pretty simple app for merchants to sell their products. During COVID, things were starting to look pretty scary around here, and I didn't really know where it was all going to go. There was, unvaccinated people were not being allowed to go in shops and all sorts of things like that. So I kind of spun up the idea of we need to have an economy outside of the things that people will be excluded from. So in that way, parallel economy with Bitcoin works kind of well. So that's one side of it, and the other side of it is literally the selling at markets, small retail shops, and that sort of thing. With what we do with the farm and that side of it, it was something that could be pretty useful for us, and so that's like the use case.
Is there still a cash economy? Is there still a big cash economy within the from the farm side of things? Do people still bring a lot of cash, or are you having to have a whatever it might be, what's it called, a square
point of sale, square device,
all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so a lot of our stuff that we do right outside the farm is cash. We do get the odd person that forces us to go out there and actually swipe their card, sort of thing, but most of the stuff there is cash. In the markets that we do, they tend to be more financially, what's the word? They're well off people, so they tend to not carry around cash so much, and they pay with cards. So yeah, we do the Square thing and all of that.
And so
I guess VaultPay's. Sorry, you go.
No. All I was going to say, and as a merchant, there's a cost built into that for the merchant, right? So
Yeah.
you happy to talk about what that is? Are you able to give a ballpark figure in terms of for people what that is?
I think it's like 2.4% or something for Square.
Yep.
So it's not huge percentage wise, but it definitely adds up when you're doing, significant sales for a week. You're spending a lot of it on paying Jack.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and if you have a product that's got a margin of 80%, fair enough. 2 is probably okay. You can probably 2.4 is probably okay. If you got a product or a service that's on an 8% margin, all of a sudden more than 25% of your profit is going to Square.
Yeah.
So I read a thing from Greg Foss that he has a pub. He's got Irish pubs in Canada.
He owns them.
Yeah, he's part of a ownership group, and he was saying something like he is a. The numbers may be slightly out, but he says they run an efficient pub group, and I think their margins are about 14%. So taking out a 2%, it's not great, but it's not awful. But when he looks at the reason he's got involved with Ibex Mercado, the Guatemala guys, is that because they are not in. Well, he's in Canada, or the pub group's in Canada, because Visa sees them as a more high risk customer, so their rate of fee on a terminal was like, I think it was either 6 or 8%. Wow. So then if you're running a business with a 10-12% margin, like Visa's taking everything,
eating up. Yeah.
So in steps Bitcoin, and here's the solution, right? Or one solution of many, maybe. So what's your idea, and who would you like to see? Who are your ideal customers, I guess?
Yeah, so it's fast. It's like really fast, and it's cheap. The Lightning transactions are next to nothing. So really, when it comes down to it, businesses can save quite a bit going through Lightning. It'd be really cool to get lots of farmers on board selling. I don't know. It'd be cool for us to do some kind of Bitcoin beef initiative in Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, for as far as Vault Pay goes, I think a lot of farmers selling at farmers markets and that sort of stuff would be really cool. Coffee shops, bars, all that sort of thing. Generally, like retail, yeah, they could use it, but I think they're probably a lot more high maintenance. But I definitely like the cafes and restaurants idea as well.
Grassroots.
Yeah, it's everything is a sort of bottom up movement, isn't it?
Yeah,
when you actually
has to be.
It does, and it's but also you're more likely to find. I would think that if you go step into a farmer's market, that you're going to find more sort of independent thinking, open-minded people. Yeah. Who have, because they themselves have had to step out of the normal supermarket box and do their own thing, and they'll firsthand see the problems of, the cash is fine, but if I'm having to do it this way, I'm losing 2.4% every time. If there's another way where I can claw back some of that percentage into my business, then that's a benefit. The customer benefits, they benefit.
Yeah.
And the only person that doesn't benefit is Visa or Square or whoever it might be. I mean, Lightning is still very early, but the distance it's traveled and
if Bitcoin's early,
well, right, exactly. So exactly. So Bitcoin's early, Lightning is exactly. But it's growing at an absolute exponential rate. So what have you? Are you actively looking for customers just now, or do you have people coming to you, or how does that work just now?
At the moment, I'm still focused on building the app more. There's a lot of stuff that I want to build out. I've got a small number of businesses using it, but I'm not really out there pushing it just yet. So I really want to get it quite polished, and there's a big difference between showing this thing to Bitcoiners that already understand the technology and how it's supposed to work and that sort of thing, than going to someone that owns a cafe and firstly explaining Bitcoin to them, and then convincing them you should use this app instead of what you're used to, because it's going to save you a bit of money. So yeah, like it really needs to be quite slick before I get out there and really start pushing it.
Like the user interface needs to be so simple that you don't even have to explain the Bitcoin point of it to people. Like, if it looks just like something they're already familiar with, then you're kind of halfway there, I guess.
Yeah, and you surely can't sell it as a replacement for what they have, but as a complementary interface for people that come in that want to spend Bitcoin or pay with Bitcoin. Yeah,
I mean, big picture
at the moment.
At the moment,
the transition,
But if I got my way and am able to achieve everything that I want to achieve, it would be a replacement.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, ultimately, I think all the three of us all think that's where we're going.
Oh, totally.
It's just that we have to get there, right?
But you can't rock up to a cafe and say, "See that Westpac FPOS machine?
Yeah,
fuck it off."
Yeah, because all the customers that come in, that's all they have, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But
exactly.
But if you have, and I've noticed it a little bit too, particularly when people meet Bitcoiners in person, when you get into these sort of Bitcoin meetups or the Bush Bash type stuff, when people, because generally we all probably sit at home and hodl our Bitcoin, but when you get into that environment and you're surrounded by other people who are trying to do things, I mean, you did it out of the boot of a car. You spent Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, I did
with somebody.
Yes. Who?
It doesn't matter. We don't want to.
And what did I buy?
Or her, or they, or maybe whatever.
Satoshi.
Satoshi. But you bought something because you're in that environment. We were all spending money on beer in the pub because we're in that environment. And like you genuinely want to support people.
You want to spend it.
Yeah. I mean,
I bought a flashlight.
A flashlight. So you do, and it's like. Eventually, eventually we're like, eventually we're all going to start spending this thing, but we're going to spend it. I hope, I think, and I hope is we're all going to start spending this on things that we genuinely value, and that might be like quality food or
flashlights.
Or flashlights or whatever. It doesn't matter. That's whatever's important to you, Brendan. Whatever's important to you. But. I mean, do you spend, or are you a spender of Bitcoin right now yourself?
Only for testing purposes. I have, like, I bought coffee and that sort of stuff, but yeah, it's not my main thing that I spend.
Yeah.
It's not that easy to spend at the moment. Not that many people or merchants accept it. So I would probably put in the effort and the extra cost at the moment to do it, just because that's where I think things need to go.
Yeah.
If I think if we don't eventually get to that point, then Bitcoin will probably die. So
so you have to be the guy who be the change or whatever. Like, right?
We will all die on this hill, though.
Well, I'll definitely die.
We'll go down with our Bitcoin.
Like it's not like I'm some hero. I'm just going to die on the hill because I'm so exposed on the hill. Somebody's going to shoot me. But I'm happy to. Like if that's what it is to be, that's what it's to be. Yeah. Which is a wild way of like go back a few years, and if I'm going to say these sort of things, you sound like an absolute lunatic. But
yeah, so in my experience, since March or February 2020. Mm-hmm. Bitcoiners have not been wrong. And again, I've said it before.
Well. I disagree.
Well, put your face in the mic.
Sorry, I do disagree. I disagree with... I think there is also a problem in blindly following Bitcoin maxis over the hill, right? That is also this critical thinking we're all talking about using. If we just go and throw it at there's the Bitcoin. We trust the Bitcoiners, so let's just walk over the hill behind. Pick your famous Bitcoiner
Udi
that you like. Udi, no, not a fan. But I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Anyway,
any famous walk. So we have to I do disagree with strong proponents of Bitcoin that I like on several topics. Happy to talk about it another time. But the point is. That's okay.
Yeah, no.
I want that to be the case.
But what I mean is the trajectory of the economy over the last couple of years. I mean, in inflation, all that kind of stuff.
They're right. I mean, the big picture
they've
stuff.
Been right.
Big picture stuff is
macro. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I mean, the big picture stuff.
I'm not saying fucking. I don't know. Nick Carter.
I will not be following Nick Carter over the hill.
Yeah.
My star will continue to fall.
Oh, what's that song? What's the song? We were singing it before.
So here's a question for you then, Michael. So, since we're just ranting at this end,
we are. Sorry.
What do you timescale wise? What do you see in the next? What would be a good outcome in the next 2 years? In for Bitcoin, for Lightning, for Bitcoin, for your business, what would that be? Do you know?
Ultimately, I'll land some funding. So
okay.
That's really where it needs to happen. And then can really gain a lot more momentum by putting together a team. I'm doing everything myself. Okay. And it's pretty hard to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
So 2 years time, get people out there visiting merchants and forcing them to adopt. Something really cool that somebody else put the thought in my head, but as well as being able to accept Bitcoin in this app, it would be cool to be able to accept dollars.
Yeah.
So then I can be the replacement for that Westpac terminal. And at the same time, encourage merchants to be, hey, put 50% of your sale into Bitcoin instead. So not only would Bitcoin be flowing around in the economy with Bitcoiners spending it, but we'd be also bringing in more money from outside, from the dollars, with merchants that we manage to orange pill, and then they convert that into Bitcoin. So that's probably 2 years time. That's probably something that is barely achievable. How many merchants? I don't really know. I'd like all of them.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'll get there.
Nice.
That's a great target. So I have. Sorry, I'm taking a top up to my glass of wine.
Whoa. Okay, go.
I loved the answer. I loved the honesty of that last answer. Is funding, right? That's great. What if somebody's listening right now that's thinking, I want to help? Because Bitcoiners help. That's one thing I've noticed, right? We have not had a single person where one of us has DM'd and said, mate, as long as you come with a level of humility of, I'm doing this, would you be willing to look at this for me, or consider that for me, or
come on
speak
the
to us
pod
a podcast, or
whatever,
something like that? And not has there been a single instance of somebody saying no?
Bodog.
All right, but that's your issue.
He's a cunt.
We have a troll. I don't know if you know. Brendo has a troll. It's hilarious. Okay, so, and Bitcoiners are, for all that this toxicity thing gets thrown around, when the humble question comes in, or the humble ask comes in, people step up. So if you're saying you're a one-man band, and that will need to be a team, and you're saying funding, what practically could somebody do for you today that would actually be helpful, that would further things for Bitcoiners in Australia?
Um, the immediate thing is probably testing. The more people I can get testing things, the better. Marketing slash not marketing, but the design slash marketing side of things is probably the biggest area that I lack in. And then on top of that, sales, getting out.
Sorry, when you say that, you don't mean within user interface. You mean on like a Twitter profile or something? Is that what you mean?
That website, and, just various bits and pieces, brochures and stuff like that. Okay. General graphic design type things. And yeah, then the biggest one is getting out, knocking on doors, convincing people that they want to use this app and that people will spend sats, and there's actually a use case for it.
Where does that person or people, where do they need to be? Do you need them to be somewhat local to you so that you guys can know, or can that person be somewhere else? Is it
anywhere?
Australia? Are we talking Australia? Or are we talking anywhere?
I think Australia is a good test bed, but realistically anywhere. It's a big world, and everyone needs to be using Bitcoin. So yeah, Australia is a good place to start because that's where we are.
It's such an opportunity for people. I mean, you see some of these. Obviously, we probably all consume quite a lot of content that comes out of the States because, one, the language is the same, and two, it's a more active. There's a bigger population, but there's a more active Bitcoin community, right? So, if the community is the right word, but I look at some of the things that are happening there, and you're like, oh, we need that, we need that. We need that.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Lolly, Strike. I mean, you're doing a very similar Strike thing, yeah? So you could be Australia's Strike. No?
I mean, to a degree, yes. I guess the merchant stuff that Strike is doing is kind of tacked onto their product later, whereas they've tackled it from, the buying side. And so, they've set up their app as a consumer wallet that makes it really easy to have dollars and Bitcoin at the same time, sort of thing. Yeah. So it is, I really think that is something that we do need in Australia. Something that could probably be pretty easy to put together. And the hardest part about it is AusTrack and, all the laws around dealing with dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you need skills there is there somebody else out there that could help with regards to that as well? Is that if somebody's listening to this,
probably, yeah.
I'm asking, like, I'm not unashamedly asking. You might not want to, but I'll do it for you. Happily do it. This is something Australia needs.
Yep.
And if there's somebody out there with the skills that are just wants to see,
the capital,
absolutely, that wants to see things get better in Australia for Bitcoiners, these are the times that you have to step up. Every time somebody, if Perth Heat baseball team goes full Bitcoin, you need to get in there and buy a shirt. If Owen goes selling his beef for Bitcoin, you need to get in there and buy his beef. And it's fucking easy, people. You just go, you buy the thing because you would have bought it anyway, and you go stack, hodl, spend, replace. Stack, hodl, spend, replace. That is it. Because you create the circular community, you create the circular economy that we're all wanting to see, but none of us are doing, right?
Yeah.
You could spend 1% of your Bitcoin that you're stacking. That's okay. You're still going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You got 27,000 sats, you're average in the future. You got 270,000 sats, you're completely average on the original, 221 million. So that's so spend $10, spend $100, and then you're better than average, and then start thinking about building more and spending to create the community you want to see.
Well, I think I'll call out Greg Foss.
Okay.
He should invest in VaultPay. Greg Foss. You heard it here first.
Call him out. Sure. Because he is back.
He's back looking glass.
He's back to Ibex Mercado. He's the type of person who could.
Yeah.
And Australia has them too.
My DMs are open.
DMs are open. Well, that's, yeah.
You know Greg. Hit him up.
I don't know Greg, but Daz knows Greg, so Daz, hit him up. Are you thinking about coming along to a Bush Bash?
Yeah, I'll probably try and get to. Is it Murrurundi?
Yes.
November.
The next one.
Yeah.
Oh, the next one is you. The next one is Yeppoon.
No, that's No, that's like next week.
Yeah, it's next week. Yeah. At the end of the month.
That's my birthday, and I'll be down south in the cold, so that's out. But no worries. The one after that.
So I know where you live, and I know your approximate birthday. Oh dear!
I think we might. I think we might blog. I think we might beep that one out. That might be the one little edit. So okay, not a Yeppoon, but hopefully at Murrurundi. And I think the Beechworth tends to be round about March for the Victorians.
Yeah,
I'd like to see one over in South Australia. No pressure, Justin, Daniel.
South Australia.
Yeah, because I think that we could have another one. Why not? Why not?
Okay. Well, why South Australia and not Northern Territory?
Well, just because I know someone that could be pressured into to doing something about that. But yeah, everywhere this needs to happen everywhere. So,
we should do one here. Go out to Six Strings and
definitely
some Wagyu, some locally brewed beer.
So do one where exactly, Mike? I'm kidding.
I'll send you a link.
But yeah, the meetup is great. The meetup is great, and I feel I'm devastated. I'm not going up to Yeppoon. I really wanted to. So can I? Well, so I'm not afraid to ask, and I'm going to ask of you. Can you please come along to Murrurundi and demonstrate this for people in a I don't know, however long you want, I guess. I'm sure Wes and
after a few beers, I don't really do the public speaking thing too much, so yeah, I'll
Hats will do it. He can't shut up.
Harsh, but probably fair. It'd be great to. I would love to see this in person. I'd love to just have a play around, and I'm sure other people would too. Awesome. Give people a shout out to where can they go if they want to go test, if they want to go. Read your Twitter or something like that, or your website. Give people a shout
out. What do we do? There's mine, which is TALEJ, and then there's the app, which is I think the handle is VaultPay app.
You think it's your handle, man? You should know.
Yeah, I set it up a while ago. Let me check.
You keep talking. I'll check.
Yeah, that's about it. But yeah, the website vaultpay.app, and you can grab the app from there. It's in both of the app stores. Or if you don't do the app store thing for Google, if you're a Graphene user or whatever, just let me know and I can get you an unofficial app store version.
Nice. That's cool.
I should actually put a link to that on the website. Too many other things to do.
But DMs are open if that is somebody's.
Yeah, DMs are open.
And it is VaultPay app at VaultPay app on Twitter. Guys, go have a look.
Yep.
And support your Bitcoiners.
Big time.
Michael, thank you. Appreciate you taking the time. Nice to meet you, mate. And hopefully we can buy you a beer with Lightning in a bar in somewhere near your home that we won't mention.
Murrurundi.
Okay,
it'll be Murrurundi for sure.
Yep.
All right, buddy.
So around November. All right.
Around
Sounds
November.
Good.
Thanks, mate.
Awesome, mate. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.